Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Colonel Allison Kamateris, welcome to today's retirement ceremony for Lieutenant Colonel Sara Reed, following over 20 years of honorable service. I am Chief Master Sergeant Catherine Smallman, your narrator. For today's ceremony, it will be appropriate for you to stand on several occasions. First, for the arrival of the official party, the presentation of the colors, followed by the national anthem and the invocation. Then for the medal presentation, and finally for the reading of the retirement order. A retirement ceremony represents the culmination of a distinguished career in service to the United States and in support of our nation's freedom. It also pays tribute to the sacrifices and professional excellence that have traditionally been keys to the greatness and, at times, the survival of America. Your presence today not only manifests your appreciation for our honorees' dedication to duty, but also reflects your sincere wishes for a gratifying future. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party, Colonel Kamateris and Lieutenant Colonel Reed, and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation.
Stand by.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Josh Knight will now give today's invocation.
Would you bow your heads with me? Father God, we come before you this afternoon and we praise you. We praise you for all of the years that you have been with Lieutenant Colonel Reed, the way that you have led her, as she has led others, the way that you have guided her, as she has guided others, the way that you have drawn near to her and cared for her, as she has cared for others, the way that you have fought for her, as she has fought for others. This afternoon, we gather here to celebrate her, but we praise you for all that you've done in her life, for being a near and present help to her in her hours of trouble, to being near with her in her times of joy and delight. We praise you for all that you've done in her life. Holy Spirit, we ask that right now in this moment that you would be with her, that you'd be with us in this room as we celebrate her years of service. We praise you for your Son. We praise you for Christ and all he's done for us on the cross and how he has saved and rescued and redeemed her and her family. We pray these things in his name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Knight. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, we would like to recognize the family members in attendance. Joining us are Lieutenant Colonel Reed's husband, Major Brody Reed. Their children, Paige, Avery, and Maddie. Her mother, Mary Askren. Her sister, Katie Gales. And her father and mother-in-law, Jerry and Nancy Reed. We would also like to welcome all distinguished guests, family, friends, and colleagues who are here or attending virtually to show their support for Lieutenant Colonel Reed. I would now like to welcome Colonel Kamateras to the stage. Ma'am, the floor is yours.
We have one rule. Sara can't cry, I can't cry, I can't cry, Sara can't cry. So I'll just say that. First, thank you. I'm incredibly honored that she invited me out here. Number one, I got out of work a little early yesterday, so that was kind of nice. So to get to fly here last night. Number two, I've never been to Salt Lake City. What a beautiful place to do this. And then number three, just to be part of this event. So Sara, I'm sure I'll thank you a million times, but I'll start out that way. Really, I want to welcome everybody here. I know that there's a formal welcome, and Sara will welcome you, but I want to welcome you as well, just because so many people that are sitting in the first couple rows, and then the whole room full of folks here is a reflection of Sara and the impact that she has made throughout her career. So, Major Brody Reed, the fact that you wore your flight suit and I didn't get to wear OCPs, I'm a little upset, but I'm supposed to talk about how dashingly or smashingly handsome Brody is, and that I will work that throughout my comments here because I get extra points for that. To Paige, Avery, Maddie, I've watched you guys grow up. It's kind of creepy, but I watch you on Facebook. Hang on every word your mom talks about, everything from your cheer, your tumbling, your ninja, your martial arts, and Maddie, even your dancing. Really, really impressive. However, ladies, what I would like to say is I have a 12-year-old daughter, and she hates these things, so I promise to try to go fast, and there's cake at the end if you'll bear with us. So thank you. Mary, you've been her rock through the years. So much of who she is because of you. Katie, as well, I haven't spent a ton of time with you, but all the time that you spend with Sara, your family, you guys, your support and love has been amazing. To Jerry and Nancy, the extended family, as well as Mark, Lorna, Don, Amy, Jim, Becky, Bob, and Helen, just so incredible, the family unit and how supportive you've been to this amazing family. I have to talk about General Retired Moulton and Miss Kathleen. A huge part of our story is when I met Taylor, that's my daughter, Sara, and they were part of that story, and the fact that they're here today is really special for all of us. members of the SLCC, 50th IS, colleagues from the 419th OG, UC Davis, and her church family. Really, thank you all for being here. And Pastor Knight, what a beautiful just setting for us to be able to celebrate in. So thank you for this amazing place for us to celebrate Sara. All the chiefs and NCOs who were part of this, I think I sent my bio to her yesterday or the day before, and the fact that Sergeant Marquez put together that thing that's in your hand that has all the information in it. I don't know how he did that. He must have paid off the Office Depot guys like, $100 to print that so quickly. Just an incredible effort and so amazing. So Sara was born in Brookings, South Dakota. I actually looked up Brookings, South Dakota, because I was like, I want to know a little bit about where Sara came from. Like, why am I so connected to this woman? So what I found out when I looked up Brookings, South Dakota, is there were pictures of museums, music. There was a picture of a dinosaur, which is kind of weird. And then all of this wildlife and even some kind of an advertisement to get people to come to Brookings to live like they did on Little House on the Prairie. And it immediately realized why Sara and I get along so well. I'm a small town girl from the Northeast. She's a small town girl from South Dakota. And the rest of our relationship, you're going to see all of these kind of interwoven similarities about it. So Sara joined the Air Force. She joined to pay for college. Interestingly, she got her bachelor's in Russian, so it's like she was a slacker and she thought she was just going to do nothing with her life. Like who goes to get their bachelor's degree in Russian? But Sara did. I point that out because really nothing Sara does is easy, and certainly when you go to college for a foreign language, that's pretty impressive. So I asked Sara why she joined, and she said, I thought I was only going to join for 4 years, but I met people along the way. They helped me see that I could make positive change and inspired me to do great things. I think that's a good opening for her career because she certainly inspired people to do great things, and she herself did as well. It's pretty amazing. So in 2001, she was a logistics officer at Shaw Air Force Base. If you don't know Shaw Air Force Base, it's a small base on the East Coast where we 9th Air Force, a couple of organizations are there, and were there at the time. Once the wars kicked off in 2001, 2002, 2003, it became basically the back end of this incredible war effort to support Afghanistan and Iraq. So I can't think of anything more meaningful than to start out the last 20 or so years that we've been in conflict to be a logistics officer at one of those bases. Really, really impressive. And during that time, she was the chief of contingency plans, incredible things. 9/11 happened, and then all of a sudden her job became even more critical. Her leaders called her dynamic, a go-getter, a superstar. She was pivotal to getting units out the door to support ops in Iraq and Afghanistan. Pretty impressive place to be when September came around. Sometime in the next 2 years, Sara thought to herself, hey, I'm not busy enough, and I want to try new things, so maybe I should go try to fly. I don't know who does that, but Sara does. Anyway, the flying thing didn't really work out. I get car sick. I can't even imagine wanting to fly. But I bring up the flying thing because it sent her to Columbus. So when she left Shaw, she goes off to Columbus. She gets picked up, and she realizes quickly this is not what she wants to do with her career, but an important thing happens at Columbus, and she meets Brody. Did I mention dashingly handsome, smashingly handsome Brody? So really, really important time in her life. I think Brody will tell you the same. I'm kind of biased because I, too, fell in love with an A-10 pilot who became a Delta guy, so I know weirdly similar, and you'll see this weirdly similar stuff throughout the speech. So I'm a little biased on the guys she picked. Brody's pretty amazing. I always knew that. However, I was further convinced that Brody was amazing when he started sending emails when his twin daughters were born to a small group of us who cared immensely about Sara and the family. He called them Daddy's Thoughts. And I don't know if you remember Brody. We all hung on a thread when we got updates about Daddy's Thoughts. One of them, I went back through them when I was preparing for the speech, and you sent one on Saturday, November 6th at about 10 p.m. I'm pretty sure you couldn't tell the night from the morning because you guys were so busy, you had twins. But this is what you wrote amongst, there was a lot, a lot of writing there. But he wrote, as the love of my life, Sara has given me a slew of great gifts, but nothing compares to the sweetest phrase that she occasionally utters when the babies cry in the middle of the night, and she says, I got this one, babe. You get some sleep. The fact that Brody's sharing that with all of us as they were becoming parents for the first time with these two beautiful twin daughters, and then Maddie joins us later. But it really goes to what teamwork they had, and I just have to mention that as I start back to Sarah's career, but how impressive their family was and their love together. So after meeting Brody, the smashingly, dashingly handsome man, Sara decides, this flying thing's not for her. She's going to go do what, again, I'm kind of biased and weirdly similar. She's going to go be an intel officer. So off to Goodfellow she goes. And then her next assignment's my favorite, because that's where I meet Sara. She goes off to Korea. So Osan, Korea, 2006, 2007. By the way, I'm shocked that this is 15 years ago, because I remember this yesterday. And General Punch Moulton and Miss Kathleen can agree that it feels like it was yesterday, and none of us aged at all. So Sara had two different jobs when she was in Korea. One, she supported intel functions first when she first got there. She ran a 24/7 watch. If you don't know what a watch is, it's where people basically work 24/7, live on Monsters and Cheetos, and try to keep up with the world's crises. So she runs one of these right next to one of the scariest countries on earth, North Korea, and attempts to kind of provide updates daily and by the minute to what's going on. And then she gets picked up for a pretty cool job. It happens to be the executive assistant for the Vice Chief 7th Air Force Commander, again, General Moulton, who her job, or her pick in that job, is what saved my life every day, because I was the aide de camp to the commander, which really is just a title that means I run around and do lots of different things. I am not the most organized person in the world, and if it had not been for Sara by my side every second, I would not have been able to succeed, but nor would anybody in that organization. Sara's organizational skills, her prioritization, her leadership, and her teamwork are absolutely what kept the glue that kept that office together. And she helped me survive, and in our survival together, we were able to help others succeed. So while Sara was in Korea, she briefed senior 3 stars on North Korean posture. She qualified in 2 wartime positions. I mean, no big deal. She was described as having exemplary leadership underscored by exceptional motivation and initiative. A lot of these are kind of buzz code words, but what they basically mean is Sara was a rock star. She was performing way above what we would have expected at the time for her to be able to do, and she was really just shining all over the place. So she leaves her mark in Korea, and Sara and I both head to Davis-Monthan, Arizona. Again, did I mention we're very similar, have some paths that cross, and so we both head off to Davis-Monthan. This is where she started her family, and so did I, again, weirdly similar. Again, she has the twins. Brody writes out great emails that keeps us all in line, and she was key to intel support there. By doing things like, one of the longest hostage events that happens in our country's history. She was pivotal to getting those guys released out of the hands of the FARC, kind of a big deal. And then the Haiti earthquake happens, and again, Sara was critical to that. Really, really impressive. All while this is happening, Sara's one of those people who sometimes I think she has 4 arms. I know that sounds weird, but she is able to keep everything going, and then if a friend needs her, she's there. Maybe not even a friend, if a neighbor she doesn't even know needs them, she's there. Our house floods. There may have been or may not have been a problem hooking up the washing machine in our brand new house. Long story short, middle of the night, our house is flooded. We call Sara and her husband. They come over with brooms and dustpans, help clean out our house, and then pack us up and move us into their house. Okay, she has really important jobs. She has her own family. She drops everything when anybody needs it. And I only tell you that example because there's probably 500 examples. I just tell you that one. I also failed to mention she got her first master's in management back in 2003. I'll kind of pop into her career every once in a while to talk about these amazing things that she does in addition to her career, because it's she could do 6 things at once. So Brody, Sara, and the twins next head off to California. A little heartbreaking for me, because up until this point, I didn't think I could survive without her. I still don't, but she leaves to go to Beale, and Sara basically runs operations for DGS-2 and training during peaks of the Iran-Iraq conflict. So if you don't know what DGS-2 is, many of you probably don't, when imagery and information is coming off some of our most sensitive intelligence assets, it gets piped back into the states. And then really amazing professionals back in the stateside basically take that information, package it up, and give it to senior leaders. So Sarah's job was to really kind of run those operations, all of the airmen that were so critical to the counter-ISIS fight, some of the counterterrorism stuff that we were doing, really, really impressive. I bring up that DGS-2 thing because here, her last assignment in the career, I'm going to go back to that in a minute. Oh, and then she was chosen after she did her time there to be the senior intel officer at Hill Air Force Base with the F-35 guys. I mean, I'm sure they pick a bunch of slackers to go do that job because it's kind of a big deal. And then after that, she gets picked up to go to support some of the guys down in Texas doing NSA stuff. If you don't know what NSA is, they're the ones that listen to all your phone calls. I'm just kidding. No, NSA, but they do have a really, really important mission, providing some of the exploitation for signals intelligence around the world. It's pretty important. It's critical. Sarah went down there and supported the guys in Texas to do that for a while. And then she gets picked up to be a squadron commander. The squadron that Sarah got picked up to be is one of the critical, we call them TFI. It just basically means that reserve and guard units become the experts in what they do and support the active duty. So this unit that she got picked up for, the 50th IS, is one of those units that is so well respected in the force. It's just well known, and we really don't let just anybody lead that unit. We pick the brightest and the best, and those that we know are going to integrate with the warfighter, and Sarah got picked up for that job. I know she just passed the guide on last week, and it's still she's spending some time reflecting on all the incredible impact she's had. But her superiors described Sarah as an absolute intel pro with boundless potential. She was a role model and a visionary leader. She won a ton of awards. You'll hear about a couple of those here in her retirement medal that she's going to get. But I think things like overseeing the first ever mobilization of the unit, leading them flawlessly through this epidemic, the pandemic, and then really, I think what she will tell you that she's most proud of is developing and designing a leader's framework and material that's going to basically be the benchmark, not just for the reserves, but probably for the active duty for years to come. And then did I mention that Sarah's got another job? Like it's just what she does in her, not in her free time, but she's got like 2 jobs. So she's also the Associate VP for People and Workplace Culture at Salt Lake Community College. And before that, she taught and was on one of the senior folks at UC Davis. So I bring this up because it's really hard to kind of stand up here in 10 minutes and tell you all the things that she's done. But what's really, really important is just to know the breadth and depth of the impact she's had on people. In the record of success, Sarah also found time to get a second master's degree in 2013, a doctorate in 2016, and then she also did her Air War College. And of course, she has the 3 beautiful girls, amazing family. She's wife, daughter, friend, coworker, all those things. When I asked Sarah about her success, I actually made her fill out this little form. She yelled at me for a minute for giving her homework when she asked me to speak. I said, hey, Sarah, what about your time and your career do you consider to be successful? And she gave me a list of things she was proud of, and it was all about other people. And I was like, no, what are you proud of? Like, what are you yourself in your career? And she said, no, really, it's things like a tech sergeant that became a wing chief, the senior airman that became a senior master sergeant, the captain that became an 05, and then a squadron commander. She measures herself by other people's success. I won't cry, you won't cry, you won't cry. Yeah, okay. So that theme for Sarah, I was really trying to think about just something to kind of sum it up. I had the honor of listening to the late General Colin Powell a couple years ago. He spoke to our National Defense University while I was there, and he took a couple questions. And somebody said to him, what was your best experience? And we thought, maybe sitting down with foreign leaders or, leading what probably could be considered the last successful conflict of our time. Some of these other things that we thought would be pretty impressive. No, you know what he said? He said it was serving. He said it was in his blood, it was in his heart, it was in his soul, and service. And that was, for him, the most thing that he was proud of and the best experience of his life. I don't cry, you don't cry. So when I thought of that, I thought of Sara, because it's in her blood, it's in her soul, and for Sara, it's about service. She's the hardest working, most selfless, incredible leader I know. I'm honored to be here today to get to celebrate this with her, and as her best friend. I'm sad to see her go, but I know she's gonna serve, and no matter what she does, because that's who she is. So Sara, thank you, congratulations, and I love you.
Thank you, Colonel Kamateris. Lieutenant Colonel Reed and Colonel Kamateris, would you please take center stage? Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the reading of the citation to accompany the award of the Meritorious Service Medal for Lieutenant Colonel Reed. Attention to orders. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 16 January 1969, has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal, 3rd Oak Leaf Cluster, to Lieutenant Colonel Sara A. Reed for meritorious service from 1 June 2019 to 1 October 2021. Lieutenant Colonel Sara A. Reed distinguished herself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 50th Intelligence Squadron, 755th Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Group, Beale Air Force Base, California. During this period, Lieutenant Colonel Reed led 109 intelligence and cyber personnel across 13 Air Force specialties and 14 mission crew positions in support of distributed Ground Station 2 operations. Under her command, squadron personnel exploited and analyzed MQ-9, U-2, and RQ-4 missions, prosecuted targets, authored fusion products, supported 605 airstrikes, and eradicated 702 enemy insurgents during Operation Inherent Resolve, Operation Freedom Sentinel, and Operation Resolute Support. Additionally, Lieutenant Colonel Reed oversaw execution of $610,000 annual budget and oversaw 6,000 man days that provided critical intelligence and cyber support to combat operations. Furthermore, she managed the Reserve Command's first ever intelligence squadron mobilization, during which she cross-coordinated with higher headquarters and active duty leadership to task 36 personnel to deploy. Finally, Lieutenant Colonel Reed's leadership directly resulted in her squadron to earn 16 higher headquarters honors and was instrumental to the wing being awarded the 2020 10th Air Force Air and Space Vigilance Award. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Reed culminate a distinguished career in the service of her country and reflect great credit upon herself and the United States Air Force. Please remain standing for the reading of the retirement order.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. By order of the Secretary of the Air Force, Reserve Order, Echo Kilo 2547, Lieutenant Colonel Sara A. Reed is relieved from her current assignment and assigned to the Retired Reserve effective 1 December 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Colonel Kamateris will now present Lieutenant Colonel Reed with her retirement certificates. Lieutenant Colonel Reed is being presented with a certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States. The certificate reads, "I extend to you my personal thanks and sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. I trust that in the coming years you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you served. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future." Signed, Joseph R. Biden, Commander-in-Chief. Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. The certificate reads, to who all shall see these presents greeting. This is to certify that Lieutenant Colonel Sara A. Reed, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of December of the year 2021. At this time, would Major Reed, Lieutenant Colonel Reed's husband, please come up?
Thanks, everyone, for coming. I just want to take this opportunity to just thank all the people that put this on. Somehow, despite Sarah's amazing career and leadership skills, she showed a serious lack in judgment in putting me in charge of this whole thing. So any errors and omissions are my fault, but luckily Chief Smallman and Chief Benson stepped in and really kind of took care of everything and did all the hard work. They even let me have my hands on the script for an editing session, and every time I saw my name, I added some adjectives of superhero or smashingly handsome. Sarah let me know that Chief Smallman started out as a Marine and that wasn't going to fly, and sure enough, it didn't. So thankfully, Babs has let me sneak it in a few times. As Babs mentioned, we met in Columbus Air Force Base clear back in 2004, and about 3 years later, we were married. I was a brand new second lieutenant when we met. I was a little bit behind Sarah. She was a first lieutenant that quickly made captain. So for those of you doing math, that's been about 14 years of me hearing your wife outranks you jokes. So if there's a pin for that, I think I should get an award of some sort. But it's been a pleasure and a privilege to stand by her and to watch her just grow and change and just all the lives she's impacted and the role model she's been for our girls. So with that, I've got a couple things to present to her, but a little non-standard since again, I got put in charge, which was a terrible decision, but I set up a little a slideshow that I would like to show at this time that kind of a flashback to the last 20 years. And so, unfortunately, Babs and Sarah, you're going to have to go sit in the front row so you can actually watch it, and then after that, I'll present my stuff. So, without further ado, Josh.
She's up before the sun on the run. Another dollar, another day, another cup of coffee. Thank you, Lord, for giving me one more. She still leans on her dreams, but it seems sometimes she's the only one who still believes that life is hard. So she takes it on with an American heart. And it beats like a drum down in New Orleans, sings like a Motown melody. It dreams like California, bigger than the Texas sky. It bleeds, it scars, but it shines when times get hard. And you can't break
Major Reed will now present Lieutenant Colonel Reed with her Air Force retirement pin and shadow box. Thank you, Major Reed. At this time, on behalf of the airmen of the 50th Intelligence Squadron, Major Quinn Gibbs Morgan and Chief Master Sergeant Ryan Benson would like to say a few words.
Chief's going to go first.
Thanks, Captain. All right, ma'am. Today we're here celebrating your retirement, and really, you've ended your career with kind of the ultimate Air Force assignment, being the commander of an intelligence squadron. A squadron, I meant to say, but intelligence squadron, why not, right? I think no one has just balanced better being a commander where you're trying to balance the needs of the Air Force and just the taking care of people and taking care of the airmen and the men and women of the squadron. I don't think no one has done that better for you. Having worked alongside of you these past 2.5 years and just seeing all that you've done behind the scenes, everything you've poured into this job, how hard you fought for your folks, really standing up to higher headquarters to really just fight for the men and women of the squadron. And just seeing that firsthand, a lot of that happens behind the scenes, but it just means a lot. And it just really had an impact on me and just shows the kind of person that you are. So with that, this is a token of appreciation from the men and women of the squadron. The guidon is a representation of the squadron. It's the flag on the battlefield. And just a way to kind of a memento for you, just to show that you were the commander of the squadron. And I'd just like to take a minute to read the inscription here. All right, Lieutenant Colonel Sara A. Reed, Commander, 50th Intelligence Squadron, Beale Air Force Base, California, June 2019 to October 2021. Presented by the women and men of the 50th IS on the momentous occasion of your retirement from the United States Air Force. You will always be remembered as a commander that dedicated her everything to leading her unit with strong reasoning, a caring approach, and prioritizing what matters, her airmen. We can't thank you enough for your exceptional leadership during unprecedented times. You made us all better.
So I keep thinking of things to say, and I realize there's really nothing I can say that appropriately conveys what impact Colonel Reed has had, not just on the 50th, but on the Air Force as a whole. Personally, I want to say that without you, ma'am, I wouldn't be a member of the Air Force anymore. I wouldn't have stayed in the reserves. You impacted me in such a way that made me want to continue to stay in and continue to serve, and I thank you for that. I don't know what else to say. The squadron, you got us through a pandemic. You got us through a really, really difficult deployment on mobilization, and conversations about what was going on in our country nationally, and we had real conversations. We had real conversations about suicide and how to get past that and how to connect with each other during a time period where we were all apart. And you saw on the slideshow the picture of the Zoom call with 100 people on it. those were our UTAs for about 6 months. And you connected us all during that time period and kept us together. It was amazing to work with you, and I have never met a better leader in my life. I'm constantly taking notes, and I've got those notes, ma'am, so I have something to strive for. I just really appreciate it. Thank you. So this is the lithograph that we have started giving out. I want to point out that it says, "From your 50 IS family," and that's something that Colonel Reed has always pushed and always exemplified, and we really are a family. So we're going to miss you, ma'am.
Thank you, Major Morgan and Chief Benson. Lieutenant Colonel Reed, ma'am, the floor is yours.
You're good. All right, so apparently broke it. Yeah, you're crying, I'm crying. It's all good. Started crying when I saw my UC Davis friends walk in the room. Yeah, I wrote, "This might be the hardest speech I've ever written." Yep, true. Fact right there. So hard that 24 hours ago it wasn't written. So I thought I would start with first the thank yous. I know we've been saying thank you, but thank you, Josh. Thank you for the invocation. Thank you for this amazing space. People kept walking in. This is such a beautiful space. Thank you, Chief Benson and Chief Smallman, for helping Brody make this happen. Hun, we didn't know what we were doing when we decided to have it here in Utah, right? We thought, okay, it won't be that big of a deal. It turns out it's a little bit more of a deal. Thank you, Sergeant Marquez, for driving in here, coming, helping, making the program happen, making everything happen. You always do it behind the scenes quietly. And he brought my favorite pie from California to me. So extra special. I'm saving you. Thank you to the Hill Air Force Base Honor Guard. I know the very last thing you're going to do is hold a flag for me, and I will be full tears at that point. We rearranged the script because I was supposed to talk after. I know that's going to happen. There is nobody in the world I would rather have up here with me. We have had so much fun. We have some crazy memories. Brody was reminding me, those we're not talking about. And we've shared some just amazing, amazing memories. I'm gonna talk a little more about you. That's just a thank you for right now. Thanks for everybody for coming on a Saturday afternoon. I had invited people to come in, to travel in, and yesterday was a beautiful day. I was like, yes, and then there's today. So for those of you who traveled in, I'm sorry that the weather didn't cooperate with you. But everyone here is someone who's had an impact on my life in some way, shape, or form in the last 20 years. And I'm unbelievably grateful to God that he put us on the paths that intersected for us to be here today. So I've been trying to think about themes because I have to have talking points and themes, and I've had two songs running through my head. And one of them has been the Lady A's song, "Where Would I Be?" And I've really been thinking about where would I be if I hadn't had the ROTC scholarship and thought I was going to be here for 4 years, and now it's 20 years later. Where would I be if I hadn't had a mom who really, really worked towards Roots and Wings, and even though she was super nervous about me being in the military, has supported me every day for the last 24 years. Thank you to my sister, my amazing sister. You and I are so completely different in such wonderful ways, and I'm amazingly honored with the person that you have helped me to become. Nancy, Jerry, Mark, and Lorna, you wrapped me in love from the moment that we met. And nobody marries into, well, not nobody, other people do, but I married into a family beyond love that I would never have even imagined. And you just have stepped in so much when we needed it. Being a reservist is not easy. I mean, my civilian colleagues know I would disappear for weeks on time, and my kids had to be somewhere, and it was typically with somebody in the front row, sometimes people in the back row, to make it all happen. And nobody ever made me feel bad about doing that piece of it. And being a reservist, it means that I have these multiple worlds. We were joking, I'm the only person in this room who knows everybody in this room. Like, I am the only one. Like, there are all these people from different parts of my life are all here today. For my colleagues from my civilian world, from UC Davis, oh, Julie, like I wouldn't be in higher ed, so Jeff, you wouldn't have me. If you hadn't met Julie, you might want to meet Julie, because Julie took a risk on me at UC Davis, hiring me into my first higher education role. I wouldn't have made it through if I hadn't had Shannon, who, with our walks, with our talks, with our, like, is that screen really 40-year-old conversations about UC Davis's awesome technology? It's better now. And Megan. Megan and I have worked together in official capacities and have really become good friends. She's someone who, in the last 2 years, in fact, my 50th IS family knows, I'd be like, sorry, I gotta go, I got dinner in Davis. I'm gonna go have dinner with Megan. For my Salt Lake Community College, or SLCC, colleagues and team, Jeff, Clifton, Chuck, Anjali, Brandy, thank you for being here. The last 2 years have been really hard, like really, really hard, as we've led through pandemics, and I've had to do it in 2 worlds, and I know there were times I wasn't fully present with you when I was trying to figure out what to do with these folks, and I definitely wouldn't be up here if I hadn't had your support. You can't see, do you want me to hold you? Are you sure? Okay, she really wanted to be on stage. She was very excited about being on the church stage. To my Flourishing Grace family, I remember very clearly the Christmas Eve, December 2018, walking into this building and feeling just amazingly wrapped in something special, and that hasn't changed. My small group friends who are here, oh, Hendrix is here, that makes me happy. Lacey, Kellen, Bob, Maureen, Lindsay, Desiree, I'm trying to see everybody, the lights kind of all, but you were what we needed when we didn't know we needed it. And as we've been through COVID-19 together, and the small joys, the showing up with tacos and music, the showing up with like an Easter egg hunt for the kids, like that's just not something that you can find anywhere. And I so greatly appreciate being right here, right now with all of you. For my military colleagues here, and I know there's some online, people were like texting me right up until right before, I'm like trying to send them the link. Whatever assignment it was, it mattered. The stories and experiences we share aren't describable to a lot of other people. Whether it's being deployed together or in Korea together. Korea was fun, also really hard. Or at one of many other assignments. Major General Moulton, I 100% know I wouldn't be here if I hadn't met you. I had my separation paperwork dropped in the system and getting ready to say I am done with the Air Force. And then I met you, and I had the opportunity to work for you, and you gave me hope. And you gave, I 100% know I would have been gone. I was ready. I was totally ready. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being a leader who gave me hope. All right, time for you. So Babs and I have been friends for 15 years, and she won't brag about herself, but you can read her bio. Like, this woman is amazing. I probably could go on and on and on about her. But one of the things that has really been special to me about her is just the example that she is. The Air Forces can sometimes be a little bit of each your own, like very, very competitive, and that is kind of, as a young captain, great words, but it's also very much an eat your own kind of culture. And then I met Babs. First day in Korea, I met Babs. She came up and she's like, you're with me. I remember it so clearly. We might have been in a bar, but but what she has always embodied is somebody who is so totally selfless. So while there were people around, like, eating their own, she was this example of an amazingly selfless person who just wanted to make other people look good. And I thought, that's what I want to be. Like, I don't want to be. Like, it does not feel right for me to be the kind of eat your own captain. And so you totally shifted. Like, as you talk about my leadership, like, that's you, right? That's General Moulton. That's like the amazing examples that I had. Like, Korea was very pivotal for me. You've been a role model, an inspiration, and just an amazing friend. And I'd really love you to move to Salt Lake. So if you could make that happen, that'd be awesome. All right, for my 50th intelligence team, I have talked about you a lot in the last couple of months, but I want to say a couple of things specifically. Major Gus Morgan, you have been an amazing director of operations. Being a part-time commander, having a really strong second is super, super important. And it means the world to me that you're still in the Air Force. Like, the Air Force needs you, and so I'm so glad you're here. I think Colonel Zaria is also online. You were also my director of operations while we were going through a global pandemic, trying to sort through being 2 moms in a really tough leadership time, in a really hard time, and I had another job too, so I was just a little bit busy. I could not have been a commander had I not had you. Chief Smallman, promoting you to chief is one of the most important things I've ever done in my life. Like, you're amazing. Chief Benson, I could not imagine having a better advisor. For those of you who don't know, all of those stripes, like, it's a really big deal that I have 2 chiefs and a colonel up here, just so you know, like, that's actually an impressive thing in itself. But all of those stripes, only the top 1% of our enlisted are given those stripes. And I had the top 1% of the 1% in the 50th with you both. You are amazing. Oh, family. So, Paige, Avery, Maddie, oh goodness, you make the world better every single day. You make me a better person, you make me a better leader. I'm really excited to spend last evening signing documents for the Air Force. I'm really excited about that. It's gonna be really good. We'll start next weekend. We're gonna, maybe we'll go to St. George. What do you say, for a couple of days? Is that something fun? Yeah, we'll go make some fun memories. And Brody, oh, I 100% wouldn't be here without you too. Our Jenga calendar live, people are always like, what do you do? I'm like, well, there's calendars, there's like a lot of texts, there's a lot of logistics that happen, but you make me a better human. You've made me a better person along the way. You've made me a better officer, a better mom, a better everything. Like, every single thing, every time we have a deep conversation about something important. And I am so appreciative that we've had the last 17 years together in the Air Force. That's a long time. So I'm just gonna leave with 5 things I learned in the Air Force, and then we're done. Sound good? Are you gonna sit with me? Yeah? Okay. So the second song that has been running through my head is the song Some Things Never Change from Frozen 2. Because I happen to play it every morning to get Maddie out of bed. We sing it, right? We sing Some Things Never Change. And the one set of the lyrics in that song is, some things never change, turn around and the time has flown. Some things stay the same, though the future remains unknown. May our good luck last, may our past be past. Time's moving fast, it's true, but some things never change. And I'll say that the things I've learned that will never change are that leading people will always be an amazingly great honor and responsibility that I will never take lightly. That the example you set for others can inspire people to see themselves and their future differently. There are many people in this room right now who absolutely have inspired and made me better. 2 of them I talked about. Third, you won't regret the time you make and prioritize for others. I remember at Chief Smallman's promotion and then at Chief Smallman's farewell, she said to me, "Ma'am, you just show up." And I was just thinking, well, of course I'd show up. Like, you're amazingly important. But it reminded me that I never regretted being there for people. Not once, not once. Fourth, there's only 5, I promise, is that small acts of kindness can change the trajectory of somebody's life or simply make their day better. So, John Walton, when I was your exec and writing addresses on envelopes for all the personal notes you used to send, I would complain, oh my goodness, I'm writing so many cards out for General Moulton. Just the addresses, he wrote the cards. But it taught me a habit of how important those small kindnesses are. I have a card from you from when I took command on my bulletin board. I've tried to embrace those sorts of small moments of kindness because they matter. They matter a lot. Finally, last thing I'm gonna say, because I'm gonna really start bawling when they come down for sure, is that nothing you do or accomplish will ever be more important than the people you meet along the way. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you for being part of the first 20 years of my professional life. Many of you I hope will continue to be, and one other thing that will never change is I will always care about you, and you know you can always reach out to me. So thank you for being part of my path. Okay, I'll get these out of your way.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. At this time, the 388th Fighter Wing Honor Guard is going to conduct a flag folding ceremony in honor of Lieutenant Colonel Reed's 20 years of achievement. For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor, white signifies purity and innocence, and blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally, a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on constellations of Airforce satellites that circle our globe and on the fin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every airman who serves our great nation. The sun never sets on our U.S. Air Force, nor on the flag we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for the freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on lands and skies around the world. It is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we, as Americans, enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it wave. Thank you, Honor Guard. Lieutenant Colonel Reed, could I ask you to come center stage, please? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Lieutenant Colonel Reed, United States Air Force, retired. Turn to your seat, ma'am. Congratulations, ma'am. For everyone in attendance today, thank you for helping us honor Lieutenant Colonel Reed today. Her service has typified our Air Force values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Please remain standing for the playing of the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party and family members. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's ceremony. We invite everyone to join us in the room next door to congratulate Lieutenant Colonel Reed and her family and partake in some refreshments. For those that have traveled in for the ceremony, the Reeds would like to host you for dinner at their house following the reception. Thank you, everybody.